Now moving to next session, uh, I would like to invite our next speaker, Dr. Saumya Sarkar, Assistant Professor in the Department of Pharmacology, Midnapur Medical College and Hospital. Dr. Sarkar has more than a decade of experience in medical education and is actively involved in pharmacology teaching, ethics, and clinical research training. He is a life member of IPS and has completed certified training in GCP, BCBR, and curriculum implementation. So, please welcome Dr. Saumya Sarkar.
Good afternoon, everybody. At the flag end of the day, the topic is compensation issues in clinical trial. We should highlight need for regulations, timeline of compensation, and how to calculate compensation. We know that there is need for regulation from the participants' point of view, autonomy, beneficence, non-beneficence. And justice. Data should have integrity and authenticity. Right, safety, well-being of the participant should be the priority. And we will be covered. This part have been covered in the NDCT rule 2019, 13 chapters, 107 rules, 8 schedules, and we have already been acquainted with these terms: adverse drug reactions and adverse event. And what are serious adverse events? We have already covered: death, permanent disability, hospitalization of the trial subject, where the trial subject is an outdoor patient or a healthy person; prolongation of hospitalization, where the trial subject is an indoor patient; persistent or significant disability or incapacity; congenital anomaly or birth defect if appears; life-threatening event if happens. These are considered as serious adverse events. Compensation issues are covered in this rule, NDCT 2019, in the 6th chapter, Rule 39 to 43. We will highlight on those. Who gets the compensation? Rule 39 says, in case of death, legal heir; in case of permanent disability or any other injury, trial subject gets the compensation. Who gives the compensation? Sponsor or its representative who has obtained permission to conduct the clinical trial or BA/BE study. Rule 39 says compensation shall be in addition to any expenses incurred on medical management. And the event of an injury not being permanent in nature, compensation shall be commensurate with the loss of wages of the subject as provided in the 7th schedule of this law. How long should the free medical management be given? As long as required as per the opinion of the investigator, and or till such time it is established that the injury is not related to CT BAB study, whichever is earlier, and which harms are considered study related, that is specifically mentioned in the Rule 41. During clinical trial or BAB study, some injury, some death have happened, but which death or which harm will be considered as trial related. Those are adverse effects of the investigational product. If it is due to adverse effect of the investigational product, if it is due to violation of the approved protocol, scientific misconduct or negligence leading to SAE. There may be failure of investigational product to provide adequate intended therapeutic effect where the required standard care or rescue medication, though available, was not provided to the subject as per the protocol. Other situations, the fourth point, not providing the required standard care, though available to the subject as per the protocol in the placebo controlled trials. Adverse events due to concomitant medication excluding the standard care necessitated as part of the approved protocol. If the injury is on a child in utero because of the participation of the parent in the clinical trial, and any clinical trial procedure involved in the study leading to SAE. These 7 conditions will dictate that the trial injury is trial related. Rule 42 says when to report and what happened after reporting. Investigator needs to report all serious adverse events to the CLA, Central Licensing Authority, the sponsor and its representative, and ethics committee within 24 hours of occurrence. If the investigator fails to report any SAE within the stipulated period, he shall have to furnish the reason for delay to the satisfaction of the CLA along with the report of SAE. Now, procedure for compensation in case of injury or death due to CT-BAB study. SAE of death or SAE of permanent disability or injury. It is classified into these two. Investigator should report within 24 hours of occurrence to CLA sponsor ethics committee. CLA will constitute an independent expert committee to examine the case and report in case of death. And also sponsor and investigator will also forward the report on SAE within 14 days to CLA and head of the institute. Ethics committee will report on SAE after analysis and opinion on financial compensation to the Central Licensing Authority within 30 days of occurrence. And Central Licensing Authority will forward the report of investigator and sponsor and ethics committee to expert committee. Expert committee will examine the report, make recommendation for purpose of arriving to at the cause of injury or death and recommend the quantum of compensation. After that, Central Licensing Authority considers the recommendation of the expert committee to determine the cause of death and the quantum of compensation within 90 days, and it orders the sponsor to pay the compensation to the next kin of the deceased person, and the sponsor will pay the compensation within 30 days of the order. And the same thing is followed in cases of disability, permanent disability or injury. This is the time frame. And compensation in biomedical and health research, it is in accordance with the national ethical guidelines for biomedical and health research involving human participants specified by the ICMR from time to time. Now, 7th schedule describes the quantum determination of formula for determination of quantum of compensation in case of CT related injury or death. What are the formula for determining the quantum of compensation? In case of trial related death, compensation is B into F into R divided by 99.37. B here is base amount, that is 8 lakhs. F means factor depending on the age of the trial subject, and the R is risk factor. The factor BFR, the factor, second thing is factor, that is uh, dependent on the age of the trial subject. If the age is 16, the factor become 228.54. If the age of the trial subject is 27, it is 213.57. If the age of the trial subject is 65 or more, it becomes 99.33. So as the age advances, this factor become reduced. And the DFR, the last part is R, that is the risk factor. That depends on the seriousness and severity of the disease, presence of comorbidity, and duration of disease of the trial subject at the time of enrollment in the clinical trial. It is between the scale of 0.5 to 4. 0.5 means a terminally ill patient whose expected time of survival is less than 6 months, not more than 6 months. There the R will be 0.5. And a healthy volunteer or trial subject with no risk will be getting 4 as risk factor, and we will multiply this B, F and R, and that will be divided by 99.37 to calculate the compensation of the due to of death that should be given to the next kin of the victim. In case of patient whose expected mortality is 90% or more within 30 days, a fixed amount is written as 2 lakhs to be given. Formula in case of trial related injury, no death other than death. There may be permanent disability. The compensation will be, formula will be C into D into 90 by 100 and 100. Here, C is the quantum of compensation which would have been given due to payment to the trial subject's nominee in case of death. If it is death, then C is calculated according to the death. But here it is given for permanent disability. So C will be it will be multiplied by D. That means percentage disability of the trial subject has suffered, and that is multiplied by 90. C into D into 90 by 100 and 100. If it is a case of trial related injury, the second maybe, first one is permanent disability other than death, permanent disability, then congenital anomaly or birth defect. Stillbirth, early death due to anomaly, no death but deformity which can be fully corrected through appropriate intervention, and permanent disability. 4 types of congenital anomaly may happen due to this type of clinical trial BAB study. Compensation for congenital anomaly or birth defect, lump sum amount such that if the amount is kept by way of fixed deposit or LI, it shall bring a monthly interest amount which is approximately equivalent to the half of the minimum wage of the unskilled worker in Delhi. The quantum of compensation in such cases of ACE shall be half of the base amount as per formula for determining the compensation for ACE resulting into death. So, congenital anomaly leading to stillbirth or early death due to anomaly is calculated in this way. Next, chronic life-threatening diseases and reversible ACE in cases the problem resolves. There the compensation will be 2 into W into A. W means minimum wage per day of the unskilled worker in Delhi, and N means number of days of hospitalization. W into N into 2. This 2 is due to not only the trial subject is admitted and being given treatment, his attendant or some other expenditure is also there. So the minimum wage per day of unskilled worker in Delhi into number of days of hospitalization is multiplied by 2 to calculate the compensation in case of trial related injury other than death leading to chronic life-threatening disease or reversible SAE in cases it is resolved. Compensation for academic clinical trials shall be required to be conducted, and academic clinical trials shall be required to be conducted in accordance with the approved clinical trial protocol, ethical principles specified in National Health Guideline for biomedical and health research involving human participants, and as notified by the ICMR with a view to ensure protection of the right, safety and well-being of the trial subjects during conduct of such clinical trial. And it is applicable to all biomedical, social and behavioral science research for health conducted in India involving human participants, their biological material and data. ICMR guideline, there is second point, 12 section is there. Second point is general ethical issues. And here it is said who pays the compensation for academic clinical trial. ICMR says the research proposal should have an inbuilt provision for mitigating research related harm. Types of research based on the risk involved, less than minimal risk, less than minimal risk, more minor increase over minimal risk or low risk, and more than minimal risk or high risk. Compensation guidelines in India are for clinical trial NDCT 2019, and for biomedical research it is ICMR 2017 guideline. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Saumya Sarkar, for your nice presentation. And now we are moving to next session. Our next session. I would like to felicitate Dr. Saumya. Thank you, sir.